Joining us now to discuss all of this is Daniel Turner, founder and executive director of Power the Future. Daniel, welcome to the show. Let's talk a little bit about this. Is this really just the inevitable outcome of coming out of COVID, as the Biden administration would like us to believe, or as many people would think? Is this more rooted in failed policies that did not prioritize or appreciate the power of American energy sovereignty, and as a result has placed our destiny in the hands of people who are not our friends?
Yeah, this is a deliberate attempt to try to use COVID as the scapegoat for everything. This has nothing to do with COVID. This is the direct consequence of failed policies. There's a huge disconnect between the movement that says we need a Green New Deal, we need to keep fossil fuels on the ground, and what fossil fuels actually do. Very few of our fossil fuels are used just for electricity production. And wind and solar are great, and we can use them to supplement electricity production, but fossil fuels go into so many more myriad products. And so punishing the fossil fuel industry has punished all these industries, punished food prices, meat prices, agriculture, manufacturing, supply chain. These are all a direct consequence of a policy from the very first day that has made the fossil fuel industry America's enemy. And Biden is now reaping the consequences of that.
Absolutely. When you start talking about the impact this has on the American family, we talked about it in our opening monologue here, $400 million a day being sucked out of the pockets of everyday Americans who still haven't gotten back to the jobs we had pre-COVID, still haven't gotten back to the economic productivity we had pre-COVID. What, in your opinion, is the pathway back to ensure, if we can at this juncture, stem the tide of this runaway inflation, these out-of-control supply chain issues that ultimately undermine our ability to ensure that America remains a preeminent force in the world?
Yeah, and you touched upon it, and even the Biden administration knows what the solution is. The solution is increased supply, and that is why they asked OPEC. But if OPEC produces more oil, what are the Iranians going to do with the surplus wealth they generate? Are they going to give homosexuals the right to marry and allow women freedom? No, they're going to use it to fund terrorism, right? What are the Saudis going to do with excess revenue, or the Yemenis or the Venezuelans? So the Biden administration intrinsically knows the fact that we have a supply crunch. They know they've created a supply crunch, but why can't we produce this oil and gas in Alaska or New Mexico or Texas? Why are we turning to the Russians? Why are we turning to countries who genuinely hate us and are our enemies, asking them to increase the supply? And that terrible statistic you mentioned of the increase of cost to fill up your gas tank. If you have to drive your kids to school, if you have to drive to the doctor, you're not going to curb your lifestyle. It's just going to punish you to live. And that's going to be the result of this. It's going to be expensive to just live your average day. So this Biden agenda is punishing the average American and seeking to reward our enemies. It really couldn't be written any better if our enemies themselves had put this in position.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Daniel Turner. As always, again, these inflation issues, not high class, they affect the common class, the common working man, and all of us. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.